This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
Developing right now, investigators are still gathering evidence near Festus, hours after Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies shot and killed a man while serving a warrant. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred, in for Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The sheriff's office says this all happened after a man posted disturbing threats on social media. It began this morning at a home outside of Festus. 5 on your side's Justina Coronel is there live tonight with the latest developments. Justina.
Just 45 minutes ago, the suspect's body was removed from the home behind me here. Now, there are still investigators at the scene here. We're told they first arrived at 8:45 to serve an arrest warrant. That's when they say Anthony Stratman Jr. made physical threats and grabbed a hammer. They tried to use a taser, but he continued to make physical threats. That's when deputies shot the man, who later died from his injuries. Just last week, Stratman was charged with making terrorist threats to shoot Jefferson County judges. The public information officer for Jefferson County Sheriff's Office said their department had noticed Stratman posting bizarre and disturbing accusations on their Facebook. That's when their mental health specialist started to talk to him.
He was not mentally well, and our intent today was to bring him into custody, to get him to the hospital. We had a commitment order already in hand to be able to bring him into custody and then take him to the hospital in the hopes that we could get him the mental health assistance that he needed.
None of the deputies were hurt. We're also told those mental health specialists were on site today to help the man. Reporting live, Justina Coronel, 5 on your side.
We're also following a developing story in downtown St. Louis. A police chase just ended near Busch Stadium. Police say a suspect's vehicle hit a Tesla at 8th and Clark about an hour ago, and all of the suspects involved are in custody. We're told 2 people involved were driving a stolen car from Jefferson City. We have a crew on the scene, and we'll update you on KSTK.com and on the 5 on your side app as we learn more.
A case of a mistaken car leads to a shooting in St. Louis in the Grove neighborhood. Police say a man was sitting in his car on Swan Avenue. This was early Sunday morning when a group of people mistakenly tried to get in it, believing it was their own car. That's when the man inside the car fired shots at the group. One man was hit and seriously hurt. The shooter then took off. Later, police found a woman who had been hit by a car unrelated to that shooting. She was taken to a hospital. The driver of that car is now in police custody.
A bus driver protest is the reason all after-school activities have been canceled in the St. Louis Public School District. In a letter sent to parents today, the district says, quote, "There's been internal strife at Missouri Central that has a racial component." Missouri Central is the bus company. Last week, a mechanic at the company told 5 on your side that he found a noose in his work bay. The letter says several drivers called in sick as part of a protest about how the company is handling the situation. Missouri Central says it's hiring an independent third party to investigate the allegations.
3 St. Louis County school districts are firing back tonight at Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. The AG accused Webster Groves, Parkway, and Lindbergh of religious and race-based discrimination. Bailey claims Parkway prevented students from forming religious-based clubs like the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He claims Lindbergh implemented race-based criteria for its gifted programs, and he accuses Webster Groves of breaking state and federal laws in its hiring practices. Tonight, all 3 schools are fighting back, calling the legal threats unfounded. 5 on your side's political editor Mark Maxwell takes a closer look at the debate in one of those districts, Webster Groves.
The new anti-racism, anti-bias policy.
School administrators recently started looking for ways to get rid of racial bias in the classroom.
It's incumbent on us to actively work to address and overcome the inequities within our influence.
Policies started popping up across the country showing sensitivity to systemic racism.
This policy is a call to action to dismantle inequities in the hiring process.
This recent Webster Groves Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion report measured racial disparities in hiring dating back to 2017 and then looked for ways to actively improve in that area, jumping from 7% up to 11% last year. Their term for taking proactive steps like that was anti-racism. But in his letter scolding them, Attorney General Andrew Bailey suggested their anti-racism was an evil form of racism itself.
When you talk about anti-racism, you talk about uplifting an entire system that helps our entire community.
We met Dr. Tiff Jones at the YWCA, where part of their motto focuses on eliminating racism.
If you can't see it, you can't be it. right? So if I don't ever see someone who looks like me, being a teacher, being a doctor, being a lawyer, I might think that that's not attainable for me.
But Bailey's letter to Webster Groves quotes conservative justices in the Supreme Court's majority.
This court has thrown affirmative action out the window.
Constitutional law expert Anders Walker says schools, corporations, even society at large haven't yet adapted to the incredible impact of that recent Supreme Court ruling.
A lot of schools are still marching down the road of diversity. They're going to have to change, or else they're going to get sued, and Attorney General Bailey is going to argue this all the way to D.C.
In St. Louis, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
We asked the Attorney General's office if they have any evidence that an act of discrimination had taken place against someone in particular. His office has not provided any examples or shown any evidence that discrimination has occurred. You can read the full responses from Parkway, Lindbergh, and Webster Groves on KSDK.com right now. Look for the link under the As Seen on TV section.
Happening in about an hour, St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones will take part in a meeting being held by the City Reparations Commission. The mayor will present her Economic Justice Action Plan and offer an update on the progress to reverse what she calls decades of disinvestment in North St. Louis. She formed the commission in 2022 to explore ways to repair race-based harms like slavery and segregation.
Did you get outside today? Because based on the weather, it's hard to believe it is February. Here's some people in Carondelet Park in St. Louis enjoying these really beautiful temperatures. Nice to see the sun out. Meteorologist Jim Castillo is here with the Weather First forecast. Jim?
Yeah, you know, it's the hottest it's ever been, or the warmest it's ever been for February the 26th in St. Louis. We hit 80, the new record. Old record 78, so beat that by 2 degrees. 1996 is the last time we were that warm, and 82 for tomorrow's forecast, and that should be another record high. The old record 79 in 1981. And where are we now? You won't believe it. Still 77 degrees, a little bit of a breeze out there. It's been gusty. In fact, dew point is climbing too. We'll talk about that chance of thunderstorms later tomorrow evening coming up in Maine weather. But those wind gusts as high as 38 miles an hour in St. Louis, and it's still a red flag warning until 6 p.m. for that critical fire danger. But we haven't had any reports of fires out there. We'll do this again southwest of St. Louis tomorrow, but much more on the forecast coming up.
A new music festival is back for a second year. Evolution Festival announced its lineup today.
And there's something for fans of all types of music. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay has more on the big names coming to St. Louis.
With headliners The Killers and Beck, the Evolution Festival is back here in Forest Park for its second year. And organizers tell me the momentum is only continuing to grow. Its inaugural year drew in thousands of people, which is why the festival's back with a bigger musical lineup and a third stage. The festival, which will be held on September 28th and September 29th, features a lineup of more than 28 national, regional, and local acts. In addition to the music, the two-day event will celebrate the city's culinary experience and highlight other art forms. The organizers say a new entrance was added on the south side of the festival after hearing feedback from festival goers last year. They believe the success of year one brought the even bigger names for year two.
Our mission year one was not only to make sure the fans had an incredible experience, but that the artists had an incredible experience as well. And fortunately they did. So they go back and tell their representatives and tell other bands that they know that, hey, this is a great festival to play, you should come play it, and word starts to spread. So it was definitely part of the process for year two, was sort of capitalizing on the positive momentum and feedback we got from year one.
Tickets go on sale this Wednesday, February 28th in Forest Park. Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
Still ahead, the issue that's forcing a private company to end the latest moon mission earlier than planned.
Plus, AT&T trying to make things right with its customers, what the carrier is offering after last week's network outage.